Yeah, that's the one thing you can't that we've had in this World Cup. We've had a lot of goals. It's been end-to-end stuff.
Yeah, first and foremost, I feel so bad for Yamin Yamal that he has to play with Ferran Torres domestically and also internationally.
Vintage Belgium, they brought on Romelu Lukaku, and with his basically his first non-touch of the game, equalized for Belgium via an own goal. Welcome to the dugout as we continue our review and previews of the World Cup games. So, four games yesterday, all four are draws. Let's start off with the first game where Cape Verde or Cabo Verde actually beat the Spanish team 0-0. And I say beat because this was a victory. This was a victory for them for all intents and purposes. Um, Basically, their goalkeeper, this 40-year-old guy who had a fantastic story, Vazina, said his mom couldn't get the costs were too much for her to come over to the U.S. Played an incredible game. But Mustafa, for me, the story is the Spanish. Luis de la Fuente, his team looked lethargic. They looked leggy. We talked about in the preview how the lack of a number nine for Spain will really hurt them. We saw Lamine Yamal on the bench, Nico also on the bench. They came on, but to no great effect. Your thoughts both on Cape Verde and what it means for them, but more importantly on the Spaniards as they move forward.
First and foremost, I feel so bad for Yamin Yamal that he has to play with Ferran Torres domestically and also internationally. Uh, um, this is legitimately one of the most surprising results I have ever remember. I can remember in international football. Like this is a tiny, tiny country. Like everyone, like I hope no one is. They're not in the millions. They're in the hundreds of thousands, right? And like the way that goalkeeper meant, the way the scenes after the game with them celebrating so much. This is the magic of the World Cup. And then coming to Spain, my God, what are you do like what were they doing? They are supposed to be one of the favorites of the competition. They are the reigning European champions. Also, I do find it hilarious that UEFA came out coming against the 48 team format, saying the European nations are going to be hurt because of this, because they're not good enough teams. Every single African nation and every single South American nation has done well or has done something.
No Asian team has lost yet either. All Asian teams, and if you include Australia as an Asian team as well, are undefeated, whereby only three European teams have actually won. Those are, of course, Andre Scheffrin's comment, who's the chairman of UEFA. Specifically on Spain, though, we have seen in previous World Cup, obviously in 2022, we saw the Saudis beat Argentina. That didn't prevent Argentina from winning the World Cup. We saw in 1990, famously, Cameroon beat Argentina in that first game. They still got to a final. This doesn't necessarily derail uh, the Spanish, but if they end up second in this group, they could play Argentina in the round of 32. So it makes it incrementally harder for them to get through. Can they come back? Do you think Lamine Yamal being brought into the first 11 will make a difference?
They should go through, right? I don't think it was like they were lucky that Saudi and Uruguay also drew afterwards. We'll get to that game, but like yeah, other World Cup champions have like not done well in their first game and then still won the World Cup. Very famously, the Saudi Arabia game with Argentina, and also with the Spanish again in 2010 as well, where they I believe drew their game. So they lost their opening match in 2010. But at the same time, the way like legitimately not just like Ferran Torres is someone that everyone is like clowning upon, but like the way Pedri played should be very should put a lot of fear into Spanish
Yeah, and
hearts.
he got a yellow card as well. Let's move to the other game in Group H. Of course, that's Saudis against Uruguay and Miami. So as good as the goalkeeping was in that first game, it was just as bad in game two. Both goals coming from goalkeeping mistakes. The Saudis took the lead basically with the Uruguayan keeper fumbling the ball and the Saudi center back basically ramming it home. And then of course Uruguay equalizing with just an appalling mistake by the Saudis. In the end, probably a fair result. They actually both teams actually did really well. The heat and humidity of Miami was a 6 p.m. game local time, but of course South Florida, um, Heat, humidity, 6 p.m. isn't that late in the day. I was surprised by how well they did. Your thoughts quickly on this game?
I just thought it was a very good game, somewhat end to end. Not the best game of the day, right? As we've talked about all throughout our previews as well. The Saudi Arabians know how to be organized and know how to play at World Cups. They are very hard out. They are going to be a very annoying team in this group. I would not be shocked if one of the best thirds is obviously from this group because I do think it's a very decent like Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia are all decent teams.
Let's come to Group G. So, two very good games. We started
Mm,
off in Seattle with Belgium and Egypt. Egypt, of course, took the lead. Belgium equalized. They huffed and puffed for a while. This is not vintage Belgium. They brought on Romelu Lukaku, and with his basically his first non-touch of the game, equalized for Belgium via an own goal. To me, the issue with Belgium, and this game was obviously outdoors in Seattle. It was a noon game, Pacific Northwest, not hard part of the country, but you can see tired, aging legs. Similarly with Egypt, Salah is now 34. This game was played on his 34th birthday. Uh, Although there was quality in this game, there was a lot of very mediocre football in my
yeah,
eyes.
yeah, yeah. I do think like Salah was playing in this more like reserve number 10 role centrally, which was causing Belgium a lot of problems early on, right? And the Egyptian goal by Asur was incredible. Like that is legitimately one of the goals of the tournament.
What
It was
was
a
better, the goal or his celebration at the end? Sort of this hybrid WWE wrestling UFC.
I get it, but like the goal was so good, man. Like it was like any like where you take it like first almost first like second touch shot from outside the net into the bottom corner against legitimately one of the best keepers in the world. That's always gonna be high to me, but like at the same time, it is just so funny to me that this man Romelu Lukaku is like he's there were questions about his fitness before the World Cup, and then while he doesn't exactly score the goal right after he comes on, he does essentially cause it with his presence
He
because
does, and he made a lung-busting run to get to the
yeah,
end of
yeah,
that. Let's come to the night game held at SoFi, Iran, New Zealand. This was a great game. We
yeah.
expected New Zealand in our preview to just sort of make up the numbers, but they took the lead twice. Chris Wood obviously um, scored in the beginning, but in credit to the Iranis, they came back 2-2, probably a fair result at the end of
Mm,
the day. But this means that both Group H and Group G, everybody's tied with a point apiece heading into the second round of stages. I think that's the beauty of some of this World Cup is
mm,
that these groups are very well poised as you head into the second round of games.
yeah, and like I also just find it like this is more of a holistic thing about the whole day. Like it's just so funny. There's not been a game without a goal except for the nil-nil draw with the Spanish and the Cabo Verdeans, and or the Cabo Verdish. What would you say exactly? Yeah, and that was arguably the one of the most entertaining games ever. I think it's been a very entertaining World Cup. And coming to this game, I thought it was very entertaining. The New Zealand, I do think New Zealand will feel a bit hard done by, but I do think it showed a lot of like how the Iranians fought back, right? And like that fire they had, and like how passionate they were, and about certain celebrations they did after some of the goals as well, which was obviously to other events happening across the world.
Let's move to today's game. Today's, of course, Group I and Group J. Group I, probably the game of the date is between France and Senegal at MetLife in New York, New Jersey. That's going to be a great game. Both very good teams. France, of course, potentially the prohibitive favorites now, based on how Spain did.
Yeah,
We'll see how France does. Senegal has a lot of talent, and then, of course, the other game in Group I held in Boston, just up the road. Iraq against Norway. Erling Haaland, of course, making his debut in a World Cup. Should be lots of goals in these first two games. Your quick thoughts on both these
yeah.
games in Group I?
I feel Mbappe has been constantly saying for the entire since in the lead up to the World Cup, and it has been leaked by that Ousmane Dembele has also come to him, and then he's also come out and basically said, "I have to come work more on the defensive end." So I'm going to be interested to seeing how he plays essentially, and like if he's actually understood. Because like let's be very honest, Mbappe is already with just two World Cups under him is already a World Cup legend, right? He is like I think he's two off becoming France's leading goal scorer. He is two off becoming France's leading goal scorer in World Cups, and he is I think one goal off being the only person to score five goals in a World Cup final, if I'm not wrong, right? So like he is it's gonna be very interesting. I hope Deschamps doesn't go full pragmatic and there is a bit more movement and we see more some attacking play because they have such both teams have such entertaining footballers on both sides. Iraq, Norway, bro, I'm not gonna count out any of these Asian teams anymore. It is unfair. They have all shown that they are all here to fight, and that is the magic. That has been the magic of this World Cup. Everyone give like part like gives that thing, and they want to be well. Like they want to do well.
Certainly, you can see the passion for some of these players playing for their country, especially these smaller countries. Let's go to Group J. First game, of course, in Kansas City, Argentina, Messi's debut, the reigning World Cup champions. I'm a little disappointed that you had the reigning champions so far into the World Cup. I like the concept of the World Cup opening with the defending champions playing the
Hmm.
first game, but I understand that you want the host nations to play first as well. Argentina should comfortably win this, but again, you just never know. African teams have done really well. We expect Algeria to do well. Interestingly, I saw that Licha Martinez will be starting for Argentina, which
Hmm.
I think is interesting. And then the second game, of course, the night game in San Francisco at Levi Stadium or San Francisco Stadium, Austria against Jordan, which to me is it's just one of those things. Austria, of course, managed by ex-Manchester United manager, one gentleman who told everyone that Manchester United needed open heart surgery, but let's not go there. Your thoughts on Argentina's chances as defending world champions and this specific first game in the house that Mahomes built?
Uh, yeah, of course, of course. First and foremost, I'm not counting out the Algerians because they still have Mahrez, they still have a lot of good players, and also they have their home support. They have Lawrence Kansas support there, man. Um, I do agree with you. I do feel like Argentina should have been on at least on the second day, if not on the if not on the first, because I do agree. It's like if it's the transfer of World Cup, it should be like somewhat of a tradition. I will see. I have to see because I'm a bit unsure about the midfield because like McAllister was so key for them in that previous World Cup campaign, and I don't. While I just don't think he's gone upper level. I don't think he's not the same player that he was in 22. In my opinion, he didn't have the greatest season in this year with Liverpool, and yes, Messi is probably the greatest footballer I will ever see and that anyone has ever seen. He's also 36. There has obviously been a drop off. We will have to see. We talked about in our preview. They this is not the same Argentina team as 22. They're not as deep as this, essentially.
Quickly, your thoughts on Austria Jordan, of course, with what's his name as the manager? Just give
Ralph
me the
Ralph Ralph Rangnick,
Ralph Ragnick.
Ralph Rangnick. That should make he ended up being right, but like I'm as I said it's gonna be an enjoy. I like none of these games are not been enjoyable, so I'm going to put I'm gonna say this is going to be not a high. I think this is gonna be like a 2-1, 2-2 type of game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can't that we've had in this World Cup. We've had a lot of goals. It's been end-to-end stuff.
Yeah.
And one other thing that's been different from 2022. In 2022, you had a lot of injury time.
Hmm.
You're seeing not as much. Remember, of course, you have to remove the 3 minutes for the hydration break, but really it's about 5 to 6 minutes of injury time. So really just the three additional
Yeah.
minutes. Uh, Not as long, but we've still had some late goals. It should be a very fascinating day of games again. I love this quartet of games. You start from early afternoon, go all the way on to late night. It's just football, football, football. It's fantastic.
For
It's fun
you, for
for
you
us in
guys,
the evening.
for you guys, we have to start here at 12 a.m. all the way till 11.
If you think this is bad, wait till 2030 where you have games in
Yeah,
Uruguay, you have games in Spain and Morocco. Spain and Morocco is fine central in the globe, but Uruguay is all the way here,
yeah,
close to the US. It'll be interesting to see how that time zone does.
yeah.
Perfect. Any last thoughts before we wrap up for today?
It's just funny to me that we had 4 games end in draws, and it was legitimately every single game was so entertaining.
Correct. It was entertaining. Even this nil-nil was an entertaining game, as you mentioned. So thank you very much. We'll do it again tomorrow.